Good morning, Zompoc. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Bex, and that bellow you just heard came from Marc.
Yes, we are your hosts throughout the zombie apocalypse. We are using this podcast to document post-zombie apocalyptic Britain for you.
Yes, with the help of a half-crazed Virgin Media employee called Rob, we've managed to keep the tiniest bit of internet on so we can broadcast to you and try to help you all survive.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. That's all good. But what the fuck happened last week? What happened last week?
I have to do the intro. I have to introduce Rob, but I have absolutely no fucking idea. I mean, obviously we both made it, which is really weird, but we did survive. There must be a reason why we continue to survive.
Yeah, I mean, because I run and hid, basically. Yeah.
No, I mean, there must be an actual reason though. Why are we still alive and broadcasting?
I don't know. Maybe we should tell people what happened.
Okay, so shall I go first or shall you?
It's all right, Bex. I'll tell my short story of woe.
Yeah, your short story of woe.
So if you missed it last week, we had a bit of a situation. The zombies, which over the last few months have been really stupid and brainless and shambling, and the general sort of crappy zombies, all of a sudden they sprang into some sort of cognitive life. They started to show intelligence. We had intelligent zombies, and they were lively, and they were acting like a group, and they was doing pack shit.
Bastard pack zombies.
Yeah, well, they nearly did for me. So I luckily, I was pretty lucky. I managed to run and hide at the very last second whilst we was recording last week's podcast. So right at the end of last week's podcast, I just literally left it and ran for it. So I had a bit of a plan. I had a backup plan in place. So Sue and the kids were upstairs in the loft. They were all hammered in. They had a rope there, and just as they come to get me, I quickly run, grabbed the rope. Sue and the kids pulled me up, and we got into the loft. But it wasn't over them. We still had to fight. It was. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's pretty horrific. The whole night, we literally fought all through the night. They were determined to get in, and we were determined to keep them out. But we did. And then in the morning, the weirdest thing happened. The sun rose, and the zombies got slower. So as it got brighter, they got slower, and they seemed to lose their sort of intelligence. And it was almost like they went to sleep somehow. So I took advantage of the situation. I noticed that they turned into sort of slow shambling zombies again. So I killed a few, cleared the house out, and within a few hours, I've managed to sort of lock up the house. Fortunately, my friend Din. Who's Din?
You mean Don?
Don. Good old Don the Tinker. He turned up. And then obviously Tony turned up just to check on me. Tony the Butchers, who does the stuff in Cherry Tree Lane. So if anybody needs any meat or any products, go see Tony down in Cherry Tree Lane. And the boys, whatever their name is, Igor and Grigor or whatever the fuck. Daisy, the old cat lady, she came. I've never seen her leave the house. She left the house with cat. I don't know how she's still alive.
Oh, she wanted to check on you.
Yeah, I don't know how.
That's so nice.
How is she alive? No one knows. Anyway, so she survived, and everybody had a similar sort of story. We all sat around in my house and talked about what happened, about the clever zombies who nearly won, and then we won. Or did we win? I don't know. So anyway, they seem to have their lights have gone out. They have nothing there anymore.
I mean, pretty much a very, very similar story here. They, as you heard last week on the podcast, I said, fuck it, let's kick some ass. I jumped down from the loft.
Oh, right.
And killed as many as I could. I mean, Simon had the ladder there ready for me to climb up if things got a little bit too overwhelming. So I killed as much of them as I could, and I was getting pushed back into the loft. I managed to make it up into the ladder in the loft, but they'd managed to figure out how to climb the ladder.
Yeah.
So they must have had some kind of heightened intelligence over the last 24 hours of the last podcast.
Yeah.
So they could only come up one at a time. So obviously you can't have too many zombies on a ladder, and the loft hatch is only very, very small. I can barely fit my shoulders through it, for God's sake. So we were just killing them one at a time for hours on end. So I'd kill a few, and then I'd get a bit tired, and then Simon would kill a few, and then he'd get a bit tired, and we'd just stop. And there was just a pile of dead zombies at the bottom of the ladder, and then they were using the zombies to help them climb up the ladder.
Oh, they were making a zombie pile up.
they were making a zombie pile up, and they were climbing up the zombie pile up and climbing up the ladder again. And do you know what? It got to a point where me and Sam were just like, we cannot fight anymore. It was just so exhausting. But then, like you say, the sun came up and they turned back into the gormless twats that they have been for the last, 4 months.
Yeah, that was handy, wasn't it?
It really was. I mean, I really need to clean the house up. It absolutely fucking stinks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we survived, and that's a good thing. I know we obviously spoke to each other during the week, just obviously to find out if we were both alive, and we were. And we was discussing the options of why what happened. And you have a theory, don't you?
I do have a theory.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm pagan and most of my family is pagan, and we believe that at Halloween or Samhain, as pagans call it, the veil between the living and the dead is a lot thinner.
Sure.
And kind of like more supernatural things happen. So I think that maybe the veil was very thin, obviously on Halloween, Samhain, and maybe the zombies drew on the power of the veil being thinned.
Yeah, I mean, and that sounds insane, but there is... You're welcome. But it's not as insane as it sounds. I mean, there is evidence of unusual supernatural things happening during Halloween. So there is actually scientific evidence to prove that not everything that we would expect to happen, with physics and science, actually does happen on Halloween. So it's I definitely think there's credence to the theory. And now obviously we've got zombies and we've seen strange things happen to these zombies. The evidence is there for us all to see.
Well, I can't think of any other way to explain it.
Yeah, no, it sounds pretty fucking feasible to me. So that's how we survived.
It sounds more plausible than blue radioactive cats.
It does, doesn't it? It does, but then, we've got them too. So it sounds more plausible than Scarlet Bush and Zimbabwe getting it on. It sounds more plausible than that.
It's definitely more plausible than Zimbabwe and Scarlet Bush getting it on.
So there you go. So that's how we survived. But I have a word of warning because I've been out and about. Obviously, I nipped down to Tony's, and I've seen a few of these zombies, and some of them have a little bit of intelligence left. I've seen a few of them. You're going to laugh because you always tell me off that you say I'm imagining it. But I've seen a few of them talking again and saying words. You know how we had that before. How
you had that before.
Yeah, it was a thing. So I've seen some of that going on again. So my worry is that we could have a situation coming up.
I mean, to be fair, I can't even lie. I have seen a few too. They're really slow and they're shambling around and stuff, but it's like it's got a bit of a look in their eye. Yeah. Like they look at you like a side glance.
Sure. So a little bit of intelligence behind the eyes. I think it's something we need to obviously keep an eye on and be alert. I just think it's something that we need to keep an eye on and be alert with.
So last week we had the email, didn't we, from was it Derek? The guy. Yeah. Who got bit and he was a zombie, but he wasn't a zombie. He had cognitive abilities. He knew he was a zombie and he knew he wanted to eat human flesh, but he wasn't going to. Have we heard from him again? What's going on with that? No, is this what all these zombies are going to turn out to be like?
Well, I'm not sure because obviously that happened during the period where the veil was thin. So there was lots of supernatural stuff going on. And obviously my concern is he didn't turn full zombie. So maybe he's still half zombie, or maybe when the half of him, after Halloween, the half of him that was intelligent is now not intelligent, like the other zombies. I'm not sure how it works.
Intelligent zombie.
Maybe he's quarter zombie now. I don't know. Or maybe he's 2/3 zombie. I'm not sure how the percentages work.
Is like half zombie politically correct?
I'm not sure. I mean, we're not calling them like halflings or anything like that. You know what? We could call them halflings. Who's going to stop us? It's our podcast. Fuck them.
Yeah, it's our podcast and it's the end of the world, so fuck them. I mean, if we better just get on with the rest of it because hopefully everyone else survived. I mean, let's do emails. Have we got emails? Did anyone survive the crazy Samhain zombies?
We shall see. Okay, so this is the part of the show where we answer emails from any of the survivors out there.
If there are any alive.
Well, unfortunately, we do have one. This is actually one that became pre craziness, and I just never got a chance to read it out last week because it went insane. So I haven't had any emails this week from. So if there's anybody out there and you're surviving, then obviously get in touch. But obviously this week I haven't had any, so maybe everybody's dead. I don't know. We'll find out once this goes out. Well, once this goes out, people hear it and they know we survived, and then they'll send in emails. But this one's pre Finn the Val thinning experience.
The pre veil thinning experience.
Yeah, I like the pagan name for it, but I think we should have our own name for it. That we should call it some sort of Val thinning experience day.
Thinning.
Yeah, the thinning. Oh, before the thinning. Oh, that's a good one. I like
the
that.
vinning.
It sounds almost the vinning. Yes, it sounds. Oh, that could be a novel. If anybody's listening, write a novel called The Vinning. It's about the Val thinning. Okay, so anyway, here we go. Here's the email. Dear Marc and Bex, this is from Scarlet Bush, by the way. Dear Marc and Bex.
Oh, I hope Scarlet survives.
Oh, we'll find out. Dear Marc and Bex, I'd like to thank Jim for the very polite invitation to join his commune in the boot of his old Skoda.
She's just so nice, isn't she?
She's too nice, really. She's going to get herself in trouble. I unfortunately have to decline. Wise move. Because, as you said, I'm in the United States, and getting to Zimbabwe would be a challenge in the midst of this apocalypse. Well, that's an understatement, isn't it?
Well, use the apocalypse as an excuse. Why don't you?
It's a good way to get out of it, though, isn't it? Oh, sorry,
definitely.
Apocalypse. Yeah. Also, I have been terribly busy in my endeavour to make batches of condoms the old-fashioned way. Oh.
I want to know what the old-fashioned way of condom making is, because I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty...
Is it something to do with pig skin?
I was going to say, isn't it like a pig's stomach or something like that?
Yeah, a pig's intestine, and they just... Yeah.
A pig's intestine, and they they make some sort of sausage. Like a sausage casing.
Like a penis sausage.
Yeah, it's definitely a single use. No, because they used to wash them, didn't they? They'd clean them and use them. Oh, that's great.
Oh, I know, that's just rancid.
You don't want to waste it, do you? How many pigs' intestines you got? Anyway.
Well, not in the Zompoc. You've not hardly got any, have you, really?
You haven't got any, no. I want to make sure we are well stocked for when we run out of the mass-marketed ones, and/or they expire. Oh, yeah, that's a fair point.
No, the pig's intestines expire.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But then you can grow more pigs, so...
Okay.
I think any sort of organic, natural product is going to, expire eventually, isn't it? I mean,
this is where Lush, they dropped the ball there. Really, they should have done organic pig condoms.
That should have been a thing. Such a thing. Unfortunately, it's not. No. Anyway, sorry. Sorry, Scarlett. We keep interrupting your email. You send us emails, we interrupt them. It's become a routine.
Sorry, Scarlett.
Yeah, sorry, Scarlett. If someday in the future we once again have air travel and the zombie problem is under control, I would love to come over and visit Jim.
That's a lie.
Yeah, I know. There's all these problems in the way, like an ocean. And
his personality.
Although I would ask that he not hang any more people. That's not a very nice thing to do. No, it's not a very nice thing to do, is it? No. Hanging people's bad. There you go.
Hanging people's bad.
Hanging people's bad.
You shouldn't hang people.
Don't hang people, not by their necks or their testicles. Accordingly, Scarlet. There's a PS. PS, I was very pleased to hear that Peter McKiernan advocates protecting his nuts. I am all about nut protection. Oh, good.
Probably different kind of nuts, but we'll move past that.
It was a good story, though. Good old Peter. He had some good stories. I'm still laughing about the story about glasses and stuff. That was funny. Right. Okey-doke. I think that's all the emails we got this week. So if anybody's got, if you want to tell us about how you're surviving, tell us how you've been getting on. Obviously, all of the authors that we've had on so far, people like Ricky, Peter, Matt, Stuart, all of you guys, obviously, we care about you deeply. And David Wellington as well. All of you guys, we care about you deeply. And
David Wellington's in his bunker. He's safe. He's fine.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Okay, so the rest of you who are barely hanging on by your fingertips, send us an email and let us know what's going on. Tell us your tales of woe.
Yep, email us at wineandgiggles@gmail.com and tell us how you beat the fuckers.
wineandgiggles@gmail.com.
That's my line.
I know, I nicked. This week, we are very lucky to have another guest from the other side of the world, and yet another author.
Yep, once again, another author is proving to have incredible zombie survival skills. This time it's actually a woman. You know, we've been lacking in women on the show. So I think it's actually our first female author.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to welcome the incredibly talented writer Jaime Johnesee, author of the incredible, brilliant and unusual Bob the Zombie series. Hello, Jaime.
Hello, thank you guys for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, no problem. You know, just a few dozen zombies out there.
Yeah, it's a problem.
How have you been surviving through this zombie apocalypse?
A lot of canned food.
That does help, a lot of canned food. Have you got lots of weapons? Have you got your family with you?
Of course, always have my family with me. They're important.
That's good. So we're basically just going to ask you a few questions. We're just going to break up the monotony of the zombie apocalypse. So we thought we'd write a few questions, ask you a few questions, you can answer them, and then we'll just get back to the apocalypse.
That sounds great. Anything to break up the killing and the biting.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then there's the zombie apocalypse going on too. That's just with my family.
Yeah, last week we had to rush through the zombie apocalypse questions, didn't we? Because we had two guests on, and we had technical problems, and then we had zombies trying to eat us all simultaneously. But this week we're lucky that it's all nice and calm. Everybody, they're just moaning and grumbling and then doing their own thing. Anyway, Bex, would you like to ask the first question?
Yes, I will ask the first. Stop laughing. Yes, I'll ask the first question. So, Jaime, you were a zookeeper before you started writing. So, what do you prefer, being a zookeeper or being a writer?
I actually prefer being a writer now. I used to, you know, if you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I would have said zookeeping, but now it's definitely writing because I just love the people I come in contact with, all the readers. They're just so fantastic. I can't imagine life any other way now.
Yeah, when you get fans, they kind of become loyal fans, don't they? And they really enjoy your work. And you especially if you're an indie author, they interact with you a lot, I think, more.
Yeah, I always say I don't really have fans. I have friends and family, you know, that it's, there's some people I've known for like 5 years now just through my writing that have kind of become family. So it's just amazing.
I mean, we was talking to Ricky Fleet a few weeks ago, who's a British guy, author, and he
fabulous.
He is a
Wonderful
fabulous author. He's a great guy, and he was saying it's difficult to change careers sort of midlife, to sort of go from one thing to another thing. I mean, was it a difficult choice for yourself to sort of, you know, just stop the zookeeping, which is obviously a very important career, and skip over to the writing?
Well, I didn't have a choice in the matter. I'd always been writing my whole life. I never really considered doing it as a career until I lost zookeeping. I was actually diagnosed with lupus, and having lupus, I just physically couldn't do the job anymore. So I had to retire from zookeeping, and I spent a couple of years kind of wandering around and trying to find out what I was supposed to do with my life.
Yeah.
Because I'd always wanted to be a zookeeper, and writing just kind of came naturally and helped me get through all of that. And so I turned to writing, and now I said I can't imagine anything else.
That's wonderful. That's fantastic. Sometimes fate is, you know, it's a strange and scary thing at times. You know, your life sort of comes to a sudden stop, and then you have to sort of restart. But it's all for a reason, I suppose.
Yeah, and you got to kind of either look. There's two ways you can go. You can look on the bright side, or you can woe is me. And if you woe is me, you may miss the chance to turn it into an opportunity for, you know, success or, you know, a better life somewhere. Yeah. So I gotta
It's
always.
a very good outlook to have.
Yeah.
It's gotten me through a lot of stuff, so I like it.
Good. I mean, are you a fan of books in general? Did you used to read a lot? Have you got a favourite genre or a favourite author?
I don't have a favorite genre or author. I read kind of like everything. Right now I'm really into biographies. I like a lot of nonfiction. I used to really love Sherlock Holmes and Edgar Allan Poe and, the masters.
Yeah.
Especially of short stories. Short stories are my favorite. Jeffrey Deaver does amazing short stories as well. But yeah, that's pretty much read anything I can get my hands on.
I mean, we probably, Bex and I probably know you best for Bob the Zombie. Obviously, we're big fans of Bob the Zombie. But it's not your traditional eat brain zombie. So, what made you want to deviate away from what was considered a normal zombie fiction into something that, is your own? So what was your desire? What was the impulse in sort of changing that genre?
Well, I actually have some friends that are zombies professionally, and their personalities are just so fun and upbeat and optimistic and jokey, and they're just amazing people. Zompoc fans are some of the nicest people in the world.
They are.
And
well, we agree with that.
Yeah, I wanted to portray that side of the kind and sort of welcoming, loving, nurturing side of zombies, which you don't usually see very often.
Not very often.
And
no.
in the beginning, zombies were always sort of empty vessels that were used by voodoo priests to do their bidding, and now it's become this rabid brain muncher beastie, and I wanted to do something that I hadn't seen before that kind of paid homage to these friends of mine and was a little bit fun. And that's where Bob came.
Brilliant.
Because his story is actually quite sad, and obviously it's a massive deviation. Was it very difficult to come up with? Like you said, you have friends who play zombies, but was it difficult to kind of write when you have to think about, yes, he's a normal person, but he's actually dead?
Yeah, it was a challenge, and I think that the challenge was making him human, because he still kind of has to be human. But at the same time, bits and pieces of him are falling off, and he's having to staple them back on. So there's these moments of jarring. He's not human. So it was.
I find him more human than some humans in the way he was written.
Oh, thank you. I like to try and make my characters as real as possible, because I feel like if the characters are real, then you kind of become invested in them.
Yeah, I feel like I'd like to meet him.
Well, he'd like to meet you
too.
Bob
the Zombie and take him for a beer.
Out for some tacos.
Yeah, everyone likes tacos.
Absolutely, they help with the brain cravings. Or Spluntool.
So Jamie, you've obviously we know you best for Bob the Zombie, and that we love you for that. But we know that you've also wrote some other fantastic books as well, sort of with supernatural feeling about them, with mythical stuff and magical stuff. So why are you into that sort of fantasy genre? Was there an inspiration from when you was a young person, or does your brain just work in a fantasy world?
I think it's a little bit of both. I grew up on C.S. Lewis, and I love the idea of just an escape and another world to play in is always fun. But for me, when I was younger, before I had kids, I really, really liked psychological horror. I really loved serial killer stuff as well. So once I had kids, I knew how much evil was already out there in the world after writing all this other stuff and doing all the research. I just didn't want to kind of feed into that, because I was worried I'd be, too overprotective of my children, or and so I find a lot of fun in the fantasy and the supernatural world, because it's not real. There's no werewolves, there's no zombies, aren't real, but it's fun to play and pretend, I guess.
Yeah, obviously, except here we've got zombies here, but other than that,
zombies are now definitely real.
Yeah,
they are real.
No werewolves yet.
No werewolf, not yet. I'm keeping an eye out. So Jamie, thank you very much for answering our questions. They're the questions that obviously we wanted to put to you, and our listeners wanted to put to you. But there's an important part after the interview bit, which is the serious bit. There's an important part that Bex loves, and that's this is our little quiz, and we call it the King of Zombie Fiction because we've only ever had men do it. But it's now the Queen of Zombie Fiction quiz. And basically what we want you to do is answer as many questions as you can in 60 seconds. And they're going to be Zompoc related. I assume you've got questions, Bex?
I have, and I've got high hopes for you, Jamie, because you've got to do it for the women.
I hope so.
The men can't
I'm
dominate
excited.
the leaderboard.
Right, I'm going to take my socks off so I can count on my fingers and my toes.
How many fingers and toes have you got?
I don't know.
Genetic disorder.
I've never made it to the end. Right, okay. So, Bex, you ready?
Yes.
Jamie, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, on your marks, get set, go.
Do zombie children go to soft play centres?
Yes.
Do the parents get driven to gin and get mildly suicidal by soft play centres?
Yes.
Do zombies need to shave?
No.
Would a zombie benefit from a spa day?
Who wouldn't benefit from a spa day?
Do you think
If they were
zombies
the
exist in other realms?
Yes.
What is the tastiest part of a body for the zombie?
I'd have to go with the buttocks.
Do Jewish zombies rest on the Sabbath?
They would have to if they're Jewish.
What would a Christian zombie give up for Lent?
Eyeballs.
What political party would the majority of zombies support?
Democratic. They want rights.
What music do zombies enjoy?
Metal.
What happened to the International Space Station in the Zompoc?
It's still up there.
Last
with
question.
One poor guy.
What would
stuck
a
in
zombie
tin can.
say if it could talk? What would a zombie say if it could talk?
Tacos.
That's it. That's the end. That is the end. The reason I said last question is because at some point my clock decided to stop running, and I forgot where 60 seconds were. Well, I didn't forget. It just didn't work properly.
You just forgot. There was a bit of lag.
So yeah, we had a bit of lag on the clock. Yeah. So that got you to 12 answers, which is who's on top? It's Peter. Is Peter on top?
Peter McKinnon with 13.
13. So that puts you joint second with Ricky Fleet, I believe, doesn't it?
Woo!
Yes.
Good company.
Yay!
You can't get any better than that.
Okay.
So I'd just like to say a massive thank you, Jamie, for coming onto our podcast and being our guest. We really do appreciate it. To all of our listeners, I'd like to encourage you to go out there and buy Jamie's books. I'm going to put the link in the description, so you can go straight to her books on Amazon and you can buy them. You can download them. They're really, really good. Highly recommended from us.
Oh, Thank you guys.
Oh,
And thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. You guys are just the best. You're so much fun.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. That's really kind.
Peter never said that.
No, Peter's a dick.
In your face, Peter. I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Jamie. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye. Right! Well, we're nearly at an end, Bex, but with all the excitement, I forgot to tell you some news.
What is it now? Is it more news? Just honestly, I can't deal with any more crap this week.
No blue cats, no purple hamsters, no green gerbils, nothing like that. So, obviously, when the world came to an end last week, obviously I thought you was dead. You thought I was dead, which was cool.
Yeah.
You was probably remotely pleased, or slightly pleased.
Oh, yeah.
So in my efforts, I was looking on the internet, the small amount of internet that I had, the Rob is kindly keeping on for us, I hope. The small amount of internet I had, I was searching around, and I've checked all the podcasts before. All the podcasts are not broadcasting anymore. But I found one. I finally found one. A podcast.
You found one that's still broadcasting?
It is. It is broadcasting from the other side of the world. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That's actually a bit amazing.
I know. So
I thought it actually, but I'm a bit jealous because I thought we're the only ones.
No, well, we're not the only ones. Apparently, on the other side of the world, there's a bunch of guys in the good old US of A. That was that. That was Australian.
US of A.
US of A.
Put another shrimp on the bar.
Don't do accents. Don't do accents.
Sorry, I shouldn't do accents.
It is called. This is the name of the podcast, and you'll need to go look it up, and you need to subscribe because it's good. It's called "Is Anyone There?" And these guys, they're in America and they're surviving, and they're helping others survive. You know, they've got their fair share of problems. We all do, but it's it's a similar type of service that they're providing.
I suppose we could invite them over for coffee and donuts sometime.
Yeah, we haven't actually got any donuts or coffee.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, they're welcome anyway. Well, they'll just have to bring their own coffee and donuts, and I'm just going to eat all the donuts. So make sure they bring extra donuts.
Bring extra donuts. I mean,
Krispy Kremes.
Do you think anybody at Krispy Kremes is still alive and working there and making Krispy Kremes and bringing them over to us?
They did start bringing them to Manchester then. I need Krispy Kremes in my life.
I dream about eating Krispy Kremes. Those are shopocalypse problems. You lay in bed of a night and dream about a Krispy Kreme donut. So are you in? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not 100% sure we want to invite these guys on. They're thousands of miles away, but they are Americans. They do like guns and they like jeeps and they like their Hueys and their fucking bazookas and nukes and they like to blow shit up. They're going to bring democracy to us.
All right, calm down.
You know what they're like? They're going to be over here. I'm bringing democracy to you boys, and they'll shoot us.
We've had a couple of American authors on now, haven't we? And neither of them have said, right, we're going to come over to England and fuck shit up for you. So,
that's true.
Yeah, if they want to come on, I say bring it. As long as they're, nice and polite.
Okay, all right. Okie dokie then. So, yeah, I think we should all go check their podcast out on iTunes.
What's it called?
It's called Is Anyone There?
Okay, I'll look it up. I'll give it a go.
I think I say it better than they do because I say it in a British accent. Are you ready? Is anyone there?
Is anyone there?
Oh, that's even better.
You say it in a London accent. I say, is anyone there? In my Manx accent.
Is anyone there?
Is anyone there?
They can.
Oi!
Is anyone there?
Is anyone there?
I think they should sample that and have that at the beginning of their show. Every week it should start off
Totally.
with, is anyone there? Like that. No, right.
Just some Cockney guy going, is there anyone there? who the fuck are you?
You have some and all, mate. Right, sorry.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
You're good at Cockney. You're good at that.
I am good at Cockney.
So it's been another action-packed episode. Thank you to Jamie for coming on, being our special guest today, despite my stereotyping of the USA people at the end of the show. Hopefully Jamie didn't listen this far and I didn't offend her because that would be really bad. So if you did listen and you are offended, I apologise. But please go check out Jamie's books because they are really, really good. Obviously the Bob the Zombie books are our favourite, but all the rest of the work is amazing as well. So please go check that out.
Not too sure why you're apologising to people at the end of the world, but thank you, Jamie, for coming on. You were absolutely brilliant, and I'm so glad to have a female author on.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of female authors out there within the genre that we like to talk about. I'm going to contact some and see if we can get more on the show because I think we should have more on the show. So that's something that we're gonna do. And maybe we can have two charts. We can have the King of Zombie Fiction and the Queen of Zombie Fiction. And at the moment, Jamie's at the top of the Queen of Zombie Fiction. So maybe that's the way we can go forward. While I have all your attention, and I'm not sure I have because you've probably dozed off, but while I have your attention...
I am.
Oh, good. Please go to iTunes and give us 5 stars. So go give us a review. Give us 5 stars. Say nice things. Be wonderful and kind about us.
We like nice things.
Yeah, I think it's important that you say nice things about us because we are obviously one of the last podcasts at the end of the world. And if you don't say nice things, we're going to find you and we're going to set Zimbabwe on you or
Tony.
Or Tony and Grigor and Igor or fucking Drago or whatever his name is.
I can't remember what the names are.
Right, okay, so that's the end of this week's podcast. Hope that you enjoyed it. Hope it was fun. Jamie was a good guest. We had a good laugh. Everything was blah, 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 blah. Thank you. Come again next week.
And kick ass.
Oh, yeah, and take care. Bye-bye.
Kick ass.
Bye-bye.
Bye.